My name's Nicole. I'm from North Carolina, and I've got some notes here because I don't want to ramble on, and I do want to make a couple of points, so you'll see me look down every once in a while. I just want to give you quickly my background. I'm a registered independent. I am in my 50s, and I had always voted kind of a mixture of both Democrats and Republicans, and I did that early on because I felt like it was a good balance. Like, we needed a balance of thought in our government and among policymakers. But as time progressed through the 80s into the 90s, I could see kind of the fringes of the radical left beginning to creep into the Democrats. And I had become concerned about that, and so I started still voting a mixture of Democrats and Republicans, but I kept that mixture more on a local level and voted more conservative on the federal level. Then kind of move into the early 2000s, I have a friend who is very active in women's issues. She's a strict feminist, and she was part of her local Democrat Party organization. And we were discussing some issues, and she kept coming back around to the phrase of, well, the ends justify the means. And I cannot get on board with that. And I know when, at first I thought it was just her, but then when I came to learn more about the Democrats, that's really where they come from. And I'm not going to say all Democrats. Actually, my mother is a registered Democrat, and she walked away from the Democrat Party a long time ago. She just never changed her affiliation officially at the voting office, because she said that she likes to get into discussions, and then when people accuse her of, oh, well, you're just a Republican, you won't understand, and she says, no, I'm a registered Democrat. So she's one of those who says that the Democrat Party walked away from her a long time ago. So my mother is a registered Democrat. I have a sister that's a registered Republican who votes straight Republican ticket and has for a long time. So we come from a pretty diverse, political thought within our family. But anyway, getting back to my friend, they pretty much hold the thought of the ends justify the means. That means that they can lie if they need to, cheat if they need to, exhort, or move into violence if they need to. And to them, as long as they meet their end game, it doesn't matter to them how they get there. And I cannot go along with that. You have to have a moral compass which guides you in your everyday life and how you approach problems and how you approach policy. So that was one thing that really put my radar up regarding the Democrats. Now, that was back in early 2000. They have since continued to move in that direction. I started to do some homework for myself, and I found out more about the infiltration of the Democrat Party by the Communist Party USA, and the agenda of the Communist Party. And the agenda of the Communist Party, if you go and do your own homework, really is to conquer different enterprises within the United States, which gives them power. And those enterprises are academia, Hollywood, the media, healthcare. That was a big one. There's several others, but those are some of the, and you can see exactly where they have crept in and then taken a foothold in those things in order to sway Americans, their thought, and for them to gain power in American politics. And their agenda, in that sense, has worked. And, that's been something that's been going on for decades. They've been progressing slowly but surely, but it comes from a Marxist background. So when Barack Obama came on the scene in 2008, my husband, who's actually from North Africa, he is Jewish, and we were watching all the things about, you know, the 2008 campaign, and we began to, at first, we were kind of impressed with Barack Obama, and I began to think, hey, maybe this is somebody I can get behind. I liked his swagger. I liked the way he spoke. He was, but that was very early in his campaign, and so my husband and I did some homework on him and found out that he was actually very entrenched in Marxism. I could not get behind that. Already having done my homework on what was going on with the Democrats and the infiltration by the Communist Party USA and what their agenda was, and the fact that the ends justifies the means. So it didn't matter that he could stand up there and lie to everybody's faces, knowing that he had an agenda towards something else, because that's what they do. When I found out about his background, more about his background, more about his upbringing, more about who it was that was his mentor, then, I was totally, I was like, there's no way I'm pulling the lever for him. Of course he won, and we endured 8 years of him, and then along came Hillary Clinton, and with Hillary, then we just got more of the continuation of the same thing, of the ends justifies the means. Now we're going to resort to violence. Now we're going to divide people even further. Barack Obama did a good job of that during his 8 years, alienating people, dividing people, stirring up hate, and that's what the Democrats do. They create a crisis, then they blame the crisis on other people, and then they introduce their solution to the crisis, which is themselves. So, because for them, the ends justifies the means. So, back in the early 2000s, I just quit voting for Democrats, even though I had voted a mixture before. So I walked away from them during that time. My mother walked away from them a long time ago. And my husband has never voted for a Democrat. My sister votes straight Republican ticket. So I'm still a registered independent, and I will continue to be. I lean more toward conservative and libertarian. And my thoughts on the Constitution is it's the strongest document ever written by any government trying to secure the freedom of people, and giving them a voice in their government. So if it is applied correctly, and it needs to be applied correctly, but it is not outdated. It is a very strong document, and I think it's the best one ever written for any country. To the people that have walked away and are, were caught up in Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and all the pomp and circumstance, surrounding them, and still have friends entrenched in that mindset, I just want you to know, by coming, to this group, I think that you're finding a home. It does not mean that you have to go and register as a Republican. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything other than you have a place here to have freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and peace in your life, that you're not going to be attacked for your thoughts, that we all love you, and you're accepted here. And one thing that I will tell you, and this is for my fellow, Christians out there, anybody who's God-believing, if that's not you and you're not into that, just give me a moment and I'll come back around. But I'm speaking to those other ones. I've been praying for a long time for God to begin to wake people up. And I've been praying what Jesus said, that there's nothing hidden that shall not be revealed. And I'm glad that things are being revealed. And I'm glad that there's peace coming to all of our citizens as Americans. So continue to pray with me on that end. But the last thing that I'm going to say is the only wave I think that the Democrats are going to see coming up is this group of people waving goodbye. Okay, so we love you all. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're part of free thinkers, independent thinkers. I want you to continue to do your homework. I want you to continue to research the Constitution if you've never done that, and I want you to find out more about the Convention of States, Article 5, Convention of States, and the movement going on across our nation right now regarding that, which has already been passed in several state houses, which is very important because that gives a lot more power and voice to the people. So anyway, I love you all, America. I'm glad to be a part of this. I will be a part of Brandon's walk on Washington when that's organized. So I hope to see you there. Okay? Love you all. Bye.